Well, again, everybody, it's Plowboy's Ghost Channel. Today I want to talk to you about something you're probably tired of hearing about, but you know what? So am I. It is an issue of 10 millimeter and how it's oversold. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm beating a dead horse, and I tell you the reason I don't feel like I'm beating a dead horse over it is because I don't feel like I've adequately explained my position and why it bothers me so much that although I think 10 millimeter is a great round, Springfield Armory XDM Elite 4.5 inch 10 millimeter, had this in a little while. Why I think it's a great round, but I think it's a great round for an auto cartridge, and why, although, and here's the point. I watch a lot of YouTube, and I catch some people. It's one thing when you catch somebody who don't know anything, obviously, or don't seem to know a lot. Someone who carries on about 10 millimeter being the best, this and the best that, and everything else is stupid, everything else is inadequate, everything else is dated, everything else is futtery, you name it. Well, when you come across someone your age, my age, or older, who should know better, Dick Fairburn, Fairburn, who in a video, pretty much, well, he just outright claims that 10 millimeter is the equivalent to 41 Magnum. Well, no, the hell it is not. Now, I'm not saying that you can't take, some of the best 10 millimeter loads and meet and or exceed some of the weakest 41 Magnum loads. But now let's talk about when you take the best of 10 millimeter, what you're looking at is some of the stuff is beyond the designed intent or the original conception of the caliber, the cartridge, which I like 10 millimeter. Let me tell y'all that first and foremost, I like 10 millimeter. I think this gun has its place, this cartridge has its place, and it's a fine place. But it is not the equivalent of 41 Magnum. It's not even close. When people tell you that 10 millimeter properly loaded is approaching and or equaling good 357 Magnum, that's right, that's accurate. And if I have 16 plus 1 of the equivalent of 357 Magnum, roughly the equivalent of 357 Magnum, I feel like I've got something. As long as my life don't depend on it too much. Well, that 10 millimeter is going to shine for me as in places that I don't go, and that's where, let's say that gas station in the wrong part of town, where you probably can tell by looking at the place that night that you don't need to pull over. I would feel better with a 10 millimeter than I would with 17 rounds of 10 millimeter than I would with 5 rounds of 38 or 357. If you know the kind of place I'm talking about and the kind of potential situations that I'm talking about. Everywhere else, anywhere that a revolver is appropriate, be it from the woods to town to regular old towns and regular old situations that 90-something% of self-defense encounters would represent, 5-6 rounds from a good revolver get her done, as long as you're good with the revolver. As long as you're adequately loaded. Now, what I take umbrage with is people trying to claim that 10 millimeter is, and you can tell the fanboys. Now, remember, I'm not a 10 millimeter hater. I'm not a 10 millimeter fanboy. You can just be, for full disclosure, you can just about put me in a 41 Magnum fanboy category, just about. I'm not saying it's my favorite, but it's dang sure in the running for my favorite. But now with this Fairburn character, we were talking about energy and the bullet weight and this, that, and the other, and he was coming up with this, well, the original design of 200 grain bullet or whatever to do with 10 millimeter means that it's so close to the original idea of 41 Magnum that you got the 41 Magnum. Well, it's not. Let me give y'all a little rundown of some loads. And yeah, today I'm using a cheat sheet. Hope y'all don't mind, because I can't keep all of this straight forever. Buffalo bore. Looking at 10 millimeter buffalo bore. They're 220 grain. I think it's Outdoorsman labeled. 220 grain buffalo bore, 10 millimeter. 1,200 foot per second's advertised velocity. Energy, if that matters to you, it don't matter that much. It does give you an indication of how powerful the round is, but it don't really give you a lot on terminal performance. But the energy of that round is 703 foot-pounds. What matters to me is more the TKO, the Taylor knockout value. And I've talked about this in previous videos. I recommend that you do a little research on Taylor knockout TKO. You'll find TKO calculators online. TKO, the Taylor knockout value, takes into account velocity, bullet diameter, bullet weight. Whereas energy doesn't care about the bullet diameter. And it's, I think it adds together velocity twice or something. Gives it too great of an importance in it. I think the Taylor knockout makes more sense. That 10 millimeter round, that 220 grain buffalo bore, you might find one more powerful, you might not, I don't know. Has a Taylor knockout value of 15. 15 for the TKO. Now for comparison's sake, the 9 millimeter buffalo bore, 147 grain Outdoorsman that Phil Schumacher, don't mean to mispronounce the man's name, killed a grizzly bear with 7, 8, 9 rounds. We talking about dumping a mag into a bear. Killed a grizzly bear with, or a brown bear with, whichever you want to call it. That one, according to Buffalo Bore, is 1,100 foot per second. Energy is 394 foot-pounds, and a TKO of 8. 8 TKO. That Buffalo Bore TKO was 15 for the 10 millimeter, 220 grain. Now, I'll tell you what 10 millimeter is absolutely superior to, and that's 9 millimeter. Absolutely. But, you know, you'll find the self-proclaimed king of 10 millimeter out of Alaska, and I guess he's a Sasquatch king too, carrying on in a video or two about how 9 millimeter may be the new best. Anyway, there we go. We've got a 9 millimeter TKO of 8 that's been proclaimed as enough. We've got a 10 millimeter 220 grain Buffalo Bore at a TKO of 15 pronounced as all you need. And let me tell y'all something. When it comes to someone telling you on camera that such and such caliber that's what's taking over Alaska. Y'all, I'm a long goddamn way from Alaska. That's what's taking over. Let me tell you something. You know, there's a lot of things in this world that go trending that are stupid, that are not, they don't have a deep-rooted value in reality. Just my opinion. And this is all just one redneck's opinion. Y'all can see I'm nothing special. I'm not living high society or nothing here. And I don't have a PhD or anything else on the wall. So we've got a 10 millimeter with a TKO of 15 that everybody worships. Now that's figuring in that your gun, you know, when you have a lot of people who will say, well, I've had someone say this in the comments the other day, I would rather have 30 rounds of 10 millimeter. How much damn time are you expecting to have in this justified bear defense shooting, or whatever shooting, to not only empty your magazine, but to have a mag change and empty that one too? It seems to me that we have a fire hose mindset in the auto cartridge world, in the auto pistol world. Fire hose. Well, we're not talking about a wildfire that you got to put out. We're talking about one problem you got to put out. And it's a very specific problem. Is a wall of bullets what you want to bank your life on? You know, what can go wrong? Does that load, does that 220 grain Buffalo Bore load function flawlessly and perfectly every time anyone shoots it out of an automatic pistol? I've seen videos of some pistols choking on it. So is it the best? Not in my mind. TKO of 15 with that 220 grain Buffalo Bore. Aria Ballistic Engineering for 41 Magnum lists a 293 grain versus 220 grain of the 10 millimeter, load at 1,500 foot per second versus the 1,200 foot per second of the Buffalo bore, which a 220 grain bullet moving at 1,200 foot per second is actually pretty good for an auto cartridge. But this 41 Magnum's a 200, and I don't have the round in here, but I will order some of these. 293 grain bullet, 1,500 foot per second. The energy, if that matters, is 1,463 pounds. What are we looking at? Over twice the energy of that 10 millimeter? Dick Fairbairn, is that equal? The TKO of that 41 Magnum round is 25. A Taylor knockout value of 25 versus the 15 of the Buffalo bore 10 millimeter. They don't seem to me to be in the same ballpark. Y'all, I don't ride energy figures, and I sure ain't a subscriber or a worshiper of the religion of energy transfer. That, just forget that. But when it comes to poking big holes as deep as you can in something that you don't want to get to you, would you rather have the 703 foot-pounds of a 40 caliber 220 grain bullet with a Taylor knockout value of 15, or would you rather have a 293 grain bullet and a 410 caliber 41 caliber bullet moving 1,500 foot per second with 1,463 foot-pounds of energy and a Taylor knockout value of 25? I'll tell you which one I would rather have. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you can't shoot this gun, if you can only shoot this little soft, cushy thing, you need to put down the soft, cushy guns and start shooting some real guns and get good with them. Now, there's some people who can't. I've got arthritis in my hands, so I understand that. Some people who can't, and I don't fault you for taking, in that case, heavy loaded 10 millimeter, just get you a reliable gun, shoot it enough, break it in enough, you know that everything's good. Yeah, man, good luck to you. Go with God, because you will probably be fine if you do your part. I'm not saying 10 millimeter sucks. I like 10 millimeter, once again. But quit making 10 millimeter the bear god, the dangerous game god. That is ridiculous. It's barely more, in my opinion, it's barely more than the 9 millimeter. And it's certainly nowhere near the potential of 41 Magnum. You know, and if you want to, if you don't like 41 Magnum and say, well, you know, I can't find ammo, and you don't reload or whatever, well, you can find ammo. Aria Ballistic Engineering has it. And here's one from Aria Ballistic Engineering, too, that I thought was interesting for my Black Hawk 45 Colt. A 355 grain cast bullet, advertised velocity 1,250 foot per second, energy 1,231. There's a TKO, Taylor knockout value of 28. 25 for the 41 Magnum, and 28 for that heavy 355 grain 45 Colt. That's why I'm a firm believer in heavy Ruger only, quote unquote, plus P 45 Colt. And that's one of the reasons between 41 Magnum and everything it's capable of with the correct load, 45 Colt and everything it's capable of with the correct load, it's the reason I gave up on 44 Magnum. Why? Why would I worry about 44 Magnum anymore? I'm shed of 44 Magnum, ammo, everything. The only 44 I have left is that 44 Special Bulldog, and I like it. I'm keeping that gun. That's a heck of a pocket gun. But y'all, we've looked at the 9mm Buffalo Bore's Outdoorsman that has taken a grizzly bear with a Taylor knockout value of 8. The Buffalo Bore 10mm, which is capable and has taken grizzly bear with a Taylor knockout value of 15, and compared it to the much better 41 Magnum, Aria Ballistic Engineering, with a Taylor knockout value of 25, and I've even thrown in 45 Colt Aria Ballistic Engineering, and I'm not saying that that's the best load available, it's just what I was on the website. Kind of intrigued by their stuff because I'm unfamiliar with the company until very, very recently. Their Taylor knockout value 28. I'll just go ahead and throw in, if you think that 41 Magnum, 44 Magnum, heavy 45 Colt, which are more capable than 10mm, are too much for you, then you can probably just go on back to your Glock video or back to your Bigfoot video, because you're not going to be interested in hearing what the 500 JRH from Aria Ballistic Engineering is capable of. A 460 grain bullet, cast of course, 1,400 foot per second, 2,001 foot-pounds of energy, and a TKO of 46. Y'all, I like it. Yeah, I'm going to hang on to a 10 millimeter because I am worried about things that this might be perfect for one day. I think, don't laugh, because they kill people probably at greater frequency than some of the things that a lot of y'all worry about. Pack of wild dogs. Coyotes even kill people. I was kind of stunned to watch videos on that and find out that they do. Herds of folks in parts of the world that I don't need to be in cities I don't need to be in. You know, I would a lot rather have 17 rounds on tap of 10 millimeter properly loaded than to have 15, 17 rounds of 9 millimeter. Seems to me it would be a little bit better, a little bit more powerful. And hey, I'm all for it. Y'all, I got into that Springfield Armory, that XDM Elite 4.5 inch 10 millimeter. I got into that real cheap. I caught that on sale. In my opinion, it's cheap. Excuse me, out the door was, $499.99. To me, I'll take it. But it just won't be my God. And if I go to out west to Big Bear Country, I'm probably not carrying a 10 millimeter. I wouldn't feel so bad with that 10 millimeter properly loaded in Black Bear Country. Not that I think Black Bear are nothing to, something to sneeze at, because they have killed and eat people too. But they're just not as big. Properly loaded and a gun that's proven itself, and this one has not proven itself to me yet lately. But I would probably be fine with a 10 millimeter. But for anything bigger, 41 Magnum would be my minimum. 45 Colt would be an easy tote. But y'all, I'm gonna have to get real good and spend a lot of time with that 500 JRH before I call that my go-to for anything, because that's a hoss. But y'all, the potential's there. And one thing I'll never do is come up short of firepower, penetration, whatever you want to call as far as stopping power goes with that 500 JRH. But y'all, that's where my mind stands on 10 millimeter versus 41 Magnum. Just take it as one plowboy's opinion, one redneck's opinion. That's all it is. But I like a 10 for anything an auto pistol could do, but it ain't gonna replace a big Magnum revolver round. So anyway, y'all, I'll try to quit harping on this subject, but I bet you it's gonna come up again. I appreciate y'all watching. I will talk to y'all later.